Good evening, everyone. Where's that condemned man that Jesus promised paradise there at Luke chapter 23, verse 43? Where's that woman who was caught in adultery and who was condemned to death by stoning, that Jesus saved her life and told her that he didn't condemn her and that not to sin anymore? Where is she? Where are all those persons who had a part in persecuting Jesus and putting him to death? There at Luke chapter 23. Where are all those persons? Are they in some place of eternal torment? Are they in heaven? Where are they? Well, if you talk to many Christians, see, their mantra, their teaching is that if you sin, you are in a place of eternal torment at present when you die. If you do not repent from your sins and stop sinning, when you die, you're going into a place of eternal torment. So that man that Jesus promised paradise, he was a sinner. He wasn't a follower of Christ, yet Jesus promised him paradise. That woman who was caught in adultery, she wasn't a follower of Christ, yet Jesus did not condemn her. He simply told her to sin no more. All those persons who had a part in scheming against Christ and persecuting him and torturing him and putting him to death, those persons were not followers of Christ, yet Christ asked the Father in prayer to forgive them, for they know not what they do. So where are all those persons? I feel like Christianity tells it. Those persons are in some place of eternal torment, this fiery hell. I say to you, no, they're not. I say to you that all of those persons are in their graves as I speak, awaiting their promised resurrection from the dead, per what Jesus taught at John chapter 5, verse 28 and 29. Wisest man, or one of the wisest men to ever live, King Solomon, wrote at Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 5, that as for the living, we know, we're conscious that we will die. But as for the dead, they know nothing at all. The Apostle Paul wrote at Romans chapter 6, verse 23, that the wages of sin is death. That is, the wages that sin pays is death, not eternal torment. So all persons who have died are simply in their graves, awaiting to be resurrected. No one who has died, except for Christ himself, is in heaven, because that is not our home. That is not where we came from. We didn't come down from heaven. So when we die, we're not going up to heaven. When we die and we come out of the grave again, that is being born again out of the womb of the earth, that's the grave, we will stand on our own 2 feet again, breathing air again on an earth prepared by God for us to live on. Does one really think that God made all those efforts in the very beginning to create the heavens and the earth? Now, our attention now is focused on the earth. For nothing? For nothing? God created the earth so that life could be here, so that this would be our home. It would make absolutely no sense for God just to destroy the earth, because there's nothing wrong with the earth. That will be selfish. But yet Christianity, for the most part, is selfish. They think that they're all going to heaven, and that's not true. See, selfish in what way? Because there are other life forms here, not just us. What did the animals do to deserve to be blown up and destroyed? The birds, aquatic life, insect life, the plants, they're innocent. The problem is us, human beings. We have been bad tenants on God's perfect earth. You know what? If we weren't here, if we weren't tenants on God's earth, the earth would continue to do what it has been doing, creating life, regenerating itself, repairing itself. The earth is a wonderfully made biological machine, for lack of a better word. We don't have to be here. But God, in his infinite wisdom and love for us, create the earth so that we too will live on it. This is our home. Jesus taught in Matthew chapter 5, verse 5, that the meek will inherit the earth. Psalms chapter 37, verse 11 says the same thing. The meek shall inherit the earth. If the earth itself is destroyed, who's going to be here, or what's going to be there for those to inherit? Nothing. So the earth itself isn't going anywhere. What is going somewhere is what we have built upon God's perfect earth. Worlds. The world of Noah's day, the world of Sodom and Gomorrah, this world. See, those worlds in the past, Noah's day, the world of Noah's day and the world of Sodom and Gomorrah, they're gone. They've been destroyed. However, look around you, what's still here? The earth. This world, which we know, according to 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4, whose God is Satan the devil, this world itself also will be destroyed, but the earth itself will remain. It's not going anywhere. God's kingdom comes down out of heaven to the earth. If the earth itself is destroyed, what's going to be down here for God's kingdom to come down to? So we must think and not allow Christianity to just say things and teach things without putting what it teaches to the test. It is also important that we know where we go when we die. If you are, say, a believer in Christ Jesus, if you are not a believer in Christ, if you are a Muslim, a Hindu, a Buddhist, or a person of any of the religious groups, if you're an atheist, it doesn't matter. You are a human being. God did not create religion, men did. God didn't create all these fancy titles, men did. Jesus didn't tell his followers to be called Christians, men did that. We are human beings. We are a creation of God. So when we die, we all go into the very same place, the same place from which we came. Where did Adam come from? Did Adam come down out of heaven? No, Adam was formed out of the dirt or dust of the earth. And when Adam died, he went back into the dust or dirt of the earth. And that life spirit, that is God's spirit that was breathed into his nostrils that gave him life, went back to God. The same thing with us. When we die, we go into the lower regions of the earth, the grave, and we'll wait there until God decides on his timetable when to resurrect us from the dead. You see, in Jesus' case, he died, and God allowed him to spend some time in the grave, the belly of the earth, his tomb, 3 days. The point here is that after death, Jesus' body was sown in the earth, planted back into the earth. He was the Son of Man. Jesus did not escape death, but he spent some time in his grave. Hell and grave are the same thing, and I did a video on this, and many will not believe it. I know Christians are totally against this because they want to believe in some maybe paternal hellfire, which can be easily debunked, and at the end of the day, they end up with egg in their face. And when they get egg in their face, and that's not my intent, they become disheveled and angry because they have no answer. The only answer that many of them will have is simply to hurl out insults at you. That's how you get around having to reconcile those many scriptures that show that hell is not a place of eternal torment. But when we die, know that we all go into a grave, a memorial tomb, and we remain there until God remembers us, memorial, and resurrects us back to life again, just as he did his son, Christ Jesus. So Jesus showed that when one dies and goes into the grave or hell, they can come out of it. If persons can only get this vision out of their mind that hell is some place of eternal torment, a fiery place of eternal torment, and the devil's down there, and there are demons poking and prodding countless people. If they can get that false notion out of their heads, they'll be better off for it. But those visions, that teaching haunts a lot of people, causes people nervous breakdowns and fear because they believe that's where they're going. No such place exists. And the reason why is because Jesus never taught that. And God himself, through his prophet Jeremiah, said this at Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 31, that such a place was a place that he did not envision. To burn people in fire, that's something that he never created or even thought of, and something that he never commanded. Read Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 31. King Solomon said, as for the dead, they know nothing at all. So how can persons who are dead be conscious of heat, pain, torture, the passage of time, blah, blah, blah? They can't. They're dead. Jesus' friend Lazarus died, spent 4 days in his tomb. When Jesus resurrected him, did Lazarus come out saying, oh, guess where I was at? I was in heaven, or I was in that other place. Lazarus had no reports. Why? Because he was dead. He knew nothing. Christianity needs to be tested, put to the test. It doesn't want you to put it to the test. It simply wants you to agree with it without you even questioning anything that it tells you. And if you question it, and if you call it out, and if you put it to the test, these Christians are going to say some of the worst things about you. They're going to insult you, and they're not going to address those scriptures that you mentioned. They're going to make you the subject. And that's where they're going to stay. Because there's something inside of them warring against what they have been taught. The truth is inside, going in and fighting against the lies that they cling tightly to. And at the end of the day, the truth is going to win anyway. So all we have to do is be patient. There's nothing else one has to do other than to plant the seeds of truth. That man that Jesus promised paradise to, that adulterous woman that Jesus did not condemn but told her to sin no more, and those who persecuted Jesus and who tortured him and who put him to death, those persons are not in some fiery place of eternal torment. They're not in heaven either. As I speak, they're in their graves. This is R. Jerome Harris, the disciple. Thank you for listening.